you manage the China threat now that we know clearly it is an adversary? You've seen the China Select Committee try to stop you and other Wall Street banks from taking companies that are tied to the People's Republic of China, stop them from going public. You've had consistent cyber breaches, surveillance of the United States, exploiting the visa processes, stealing intellectual property. Tell us how you manage that. You see all of this bad behavior, and yet it's still a customer. You're doing business in China. It's lawful.
Yeah. So, I give you credit for you raised this issue a long time ago and, put some focus on it. But you got to step back and look at the big picture and put it in context. America has the best position in the world. The American public should understand our GDP per person is $80,000. China's is 15. We have peace with our neighbors. Not that we don't have some problems. We have peace with our neighbors. They live in a very tough area. Most of the people around them are rearming because of the actions they're taking. They've done an unbelievable job in certain technologies, so they've caught up in certain technologies. But we still have the most prosperous economy nation in the world. They have terrible demographics. They've had some mismanagement of their economy. The notion that come out we're way behind. Now go to the specifics. Foreign policy of the United States is set by the United States government, not by J.P. Morgan Chase. And there are a lot of things we can't do because of the government. I don't want to do it when they tell us not to do it. And when they tell us we don't do it, some of these things that get raised are very specific things where, we think the person raising the issue is generally wrong. I mean, you may love congressmen, but I can't have every congressman decide who we do business with. And so if we thought that a company we were doing was doing inappropriate stuff, or we were told by the United States government that it was doing inappropriate stuff, we wouldn't do it. Now, if you look at what we're doing in China, we bank, I think, 3,000 multinationals in China. So these are a lot of companies, some of whom are going to be here, and so we kind of have clients, there's network of clients. So we try to be very careful, but, we're not going to violate American national security policy. And like I said, there's things we will not do there, and there are things we do. There's some specific things raised that we just don't agree with. And if someone showed us it was wrong, we would change our mind.
Would you walk away from a deal, from an IPO, if you felt that that company was assisting the People's Liberation Army?
Would we walk away from a deal? Absolutely. We don't have to chase any deal or any client, something like that. But then you have to define assisting. Is that food, sneakers, or is it military equipment? So if it's assisting military equipment, absolutely. And presumably that would be on the sanction list of the United States government. If it's something that's kind of innocuous, no, we're not going to walk away from that company. If the United States government decided that we should, then we would. I'm not afraid of China. I think what we need to do is make sure we're secure. Maintain the strongest military in the world is the best deterrent. You've heard the quotes, maintaining an army is expensive, fighting a war is even more expensive, and losing a war is the most expensive. So deterrence, deterrence, deterrence.